Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Alesha Brown, the Joy Guru, and I just wanted to spend a few moments with you to give you some positivity. This is Motivational Monday, and it's so imperative that we have our mindset properly aligned for the week ahead. This is what I want to say. It's really not about you. There's something I'm learning in every season of life, and what I learned is the more that you go forward after the plans and things that God puts in your heart. As you go to different levels, different dimensions, as you really are in that space where you just doing it. I mean, you are fulfilling your mission. You're not where you were. You may not be where you want to be, but you are on the battlefield. You are out there grinding. You are out there doing it. You're out there launching. You're out there reaching people. Please understand that as wonderful as that is, as great as that feels, you have to be prepared for the fiery darts. And one thing that I encourage people, as an empowerment and accountability coach, one of the things that I try to encourage my clients and the people I talk to is please understand it's not about you. It's just not. And I see in this season so much. People are doing great things, and then an attack comes, and they're so hurt. I see how much energy, how much time is spent in the feelings and the emotions of the thing. And I'm an emotional person. I wear that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not a cold person. If you follow my platform, if you read in my book, my first book, sometimes all you have is happy. You'll understand my past. You'll understand things I went through, which is why I consider it to be an honor to be emotional. Some people, certain events that happens in life is harden their hearts. So they walk around void of emotion. So I'm happy that based on what I survived, I'm not walking around void of emotion. But I'm also aware of the fact there's a lot of times we have to keep our emotions in check. And a lot of times I miss the mark, but I'm glad for God who puts me right back in perspective and puts me back in alignment. But I will say this one thing, it's really not about you. I just want to encourage somebody that's listening to this. It's really not about you. And I just want to make it personal, because sometimes I think what throws us off center is when the fiery darts come from those that are closest to us. It's one thing. I'm not saying you won't get emotional or you won't be hurt, but you're typically not hurt as much when it's a stranger that attacks you. You don't know that person. You're not vested in that person. You have no history with that person. Doesn't hurt as bad. But when it's the friend, it's the partner, it's the business partner, it's the collaboration person you had, when it's the person that meant something to you. See, that's a whole nother level. When someone means something to you, when you have fed into this person's life and they fed into yours and they come at you with the fiery dart, it's so easy to take that thing personal. And beloved, today I just want to encourage you. It may hurt. I'm not asking you to walk around like you're unscathed, but I'm asking you to put that thing in perspective because we're on business for the king. I want you to understand, if you don't believe me, look at the news any day and see how quickly people are losing their lives. Look how easily you can walk out your house and never walk back in. Look at how easy it is for you to go to the store. Just a simple trip to the store, and somehow misfortune happens to you. Life is that real. We live in a world where you wake up this morning and 2 seconds later you can fall flat dead. No fault of your own. Perfectly healthy. Time waits for no man. No person knows the appointed hour. So if that is the case, we all have limited amount of time. What you don't have time for, if you're mission minded, if you're mission focused, if you know that God has a plan for your life, and you know that it's going to take great effort and energy to fulfill that plan, what you don't have time for is to be caught in a bunch of foolishness. You don't have time to be caught in a bunch of drama. You don't have time to break down and sit in a bunch of mess every time someone treats you mean or they launch something at you. You know, the OJ trial was famous for if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Some of you need to quit certain things in your life because it don't fit. Just because somebody launches something at you, just because somebody plans to attack at you, just because somebody tries to set you up. And that's one thing we need to understand. You know, there's always a war in the heavenly against us, but please understand, a lot of time the enemy is in your camp. The enemy is in your camp and they are going behind your back with phone calls, with messages, with whatever. They're close to you enough so that they know exactly who they need to talk to, who they need to reach. Look at social media. Use Facebook, for example. Sometimes people friend request you, but before they even become your friend on Facebook, a lot of times they're looking at your profile. So if your profile doesn't have a certain level of security, they're looking at every connection you have, and then they're trying to reach that connection and say, hey, I know her, bop, 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 bop. And they are strategically stalking you on social media. They are trying to connect with who you are connected to because they're trying to build their wealth and their platform off of you. But the thing is, it really isn't even about you. Don't take it personal. Because what we don't realize is a lot of times people in there, we all make choices, but in your life, and we need to look at this when people launch fiery darts and they get angry at you and they do things against you, put that thing in a spiritual perspective. Take a moment away from making it personal and ask God to give you a spiritual eye and wisdom. Those people, just like we do sometimes, we have the ability to choose our action. So a lot of times, based on people's choices, they are allowing the enemy to work through them and they don't know it. So they might be twisting things in one perspective and they get their emotions in a certain way. The enemy has completely distracted their vision. And you know what? A lot of times you can tell that's the truth. When things come out of nowhere by those that are the closest to you, and it's a contorted, a twisted, unjustified, it don't fit. It's not even logical. It's not even rational. It leaves you scratching your head. How did they get that? I thought they knew me better than that. How could they come against me with that? It ain't even about you. So I'm going to encourage you, I can go on and on about this. I mean, this probably should be a sermon. But my thing I want to encourage you on today, please understand it's not about you. It really isn't about you. But please understand when you are on the battlefield, when you're doing what you're supposed to do, when you're operating according to purpose, when you're operating according to what you have been divinely created for, the fiery darts are coming. And I said, fiery. They're going to sting, they're going to burn. People are going to attack you. They're going to try to trash your name, your reputation. They are going to try to take every good thing about you and reduced it down to absolutely nothing. What you don't have the time for is to allow that nastiness, that hurt, that pain, whatever spirit is working in them and working through them, you don't have time to receive that. You don't even have time to let that thing penetrate through you. You're more valuable than that. Time waits for no man. We must work while it's day, for night is coming and no man can work. Time waits for no man. Everybody gets 24 hours. So, what I worked through in this season, I'm encouraging you to join me and do the same thing. Forgive people, mercy and grace. And it's hard, but you have to, if you are a servant of the Lord, if you are a Christian, you're supposed to be, and there's a place for that in business and entrepreneurship. Actually, that should be the foundation, but I'm not going to go in that today. You have to know how to serve with love. Christ gave his entire life for people that he knew would never love him, knew would betray him, knew would hurt him. He gave his life. So sometimes we're going to have to lay our lives down. Lay down that hurt. Lay down your feelings. Serve. in his spirit. And it's not easy. You got to know how to look the enemy in the eye. That same person, those same people that launch those fiery darts against you, you have to know how to serve them with love because it's really not about you. Be honest with yourself today. Can you do that? Can you have someone attack you? Can you have someone hate you? Can you have someone actually trash your name? Can you have someone actually do everything they can to hurt you? And can you still serve them with love? Because that part is about you. Don't guard your anointing. That's what I want to say today. Guard your anointing, guard your heart, guard your mind, guard your spirit. I shared earlier today in my motivation of the day, which of the three do you struggle to leave behind for success? Please understand that motivational post wasn't just about a business success. That's success, that's peace, that's love, that's everything in your life. And some of those things, the three things I had for you to choose from was the opinions of others, old habits and methods, and three, playing it small. So many of us were meant to do greater things. We're meant to do just astronomical things. And sometimes we can't see that because we're burdened down by the labels that somebody else tries to attach on us. Somebody said this about you, and we carry that stuff from whatever point we received it. All those things that people fed into our spirit that was negative, we're still carrying that. So every time we encounter this person over here that says this, that person over here that says this, and this person that I thought was a friend, or this person that I loved and cared for, this person that I felt like was my sister or my brother, and then out of nowhere they hurl this false accusation, and they, for the life of them, can't see how false that is, how egregious it is. Then we want to play shrinking valley. Then you want to minimize yourself. You want to minimize your gift. You want to minimize what your purpose is. Don't do that. That is the attack of the enemy. He knows he has to have some way to knock you off kilter. So often that's how he does it. He used those that are closest to you. That's nothing old, but why do we act like it's nothing new? But why do we act like it's something new? Why are we so easily swayed every time this person says this, or that person says this, or that person says this? Think about that, beloved. Think about that. We're all on borrowed time. We're all on borrowed time. I'm a firm believer. I tell people all the time, don't think you're too old for something. Don't think you've missed that window of opportunity. If it's still in your heart, it's still something that you can launch. It's still something you can do. You just need to understand how to put the pieces together to do it. However, don't believe you have all the time in the world. You don't. For many of you, certain things, you're running out of time. And the reason you're running out of time because you're spending so much time feeding negativity, feeding ugliness, feeding hurt, feeding envy. You're not a trash can. Don't allow everything to flow through you. It's not meant to be. If it's not meant for you, even though it may break your heart, even though when that fiery dart is launched, it may shake you to the core. Learn how to let it shake you to the core, baby, and shake the dust off your feet. Don't accept what God does not allow if it's not for you. Take a moment of reflection, but if you know deep down, deep down, deep down, that is not you, don't take it. Don't receive it. Don't let anybody dampen your spirit or your purpose. Don't let them steal your joy. Don't let them steal your spirit. Don't let them steal your giftings and your anointings. Just don't receive it. That's why trash cans got lids. Some of you need to put the lid on your life. I'm not saying you shut people out, but you better shut out the negativity, and you better shut out the envy, and you better shut out the ridiculousness. Don't ruin. Don't one of the examples I love to use. I'm gonna leave it right here. Moses. Moses was a good man. God loved Moses. You study the history of Moses and you see all the amazing things that he accomplished. But can you imagine, because of one act, and maybe that's what we need to study, that one act in anger that Moses did, one act in anger kept him from the promised land. He worked so long, diligently, faithfully to the Lord. But the pressure from the people, his quick button reaction. He was frustrated. He was fed up. He was tired. So when the people came at him, he did one action, but it wasn't according to the will of God. And also, it was a familiar spirit. He did one action out of familiarity, but what he did minimized what God wanted him to do. So just because of that one action, in a moment of anger, in one moment, it forbid him from going into the promised land. And what I want for you today, beloved, I don't want you to have a Moses experience. God honors his word. So Moses lived to see the promised land, but he would never enter the promised land. I don't want anyone to knock you off kilter. I don't want anyone to knock me off kilter where you can see the blessings God has for you before you leave this earth, but you can never enter in. Nobody's worth that. Nobody's worth that. So this Monday, motivational, go in power. Leave behind certain things. It's okay to be hurt. When someone launches a fiery dart or they launch something that they're accusatory and you know it's not you, I'm not saying don't be human. I'm not saying you won't have a moment where you just, you're knocked off your feet. It's like the carpet has been swept from under you. But stand back up. Stand back up in the spirit. Pray in the spirit. Pray for that person. Because it's not it, they may make it personal, but you should not. Pray for them. Pray that God will open their eyes, but pray that God will open you. Don't receive it. Keep moving. Be mission focused. You've come too far. You have fought too hard to miss out now. And as always, if you're having a problem with this area, I'd love to hear from you. You can follow me at thejoyguru.net. My contact information is on that page. I love to help people, especially women. I love to help us be a stronger person. I love to help us be in alignment for those things we want to achieve because we can't do it alone. But I just want to be a source of encouragement to you. I would love to hear from you. If there's something like this that you're struggling with, you can comment below if you're listening to this on a replay. Or like I said, you can always contact me to thejoyguru.net. It'll have the different ways to contact me. But just go in peace. Just go in joy. Don't let anyone steal your anointing. Don't let the fiery darts quench you. They're going to come. But you know what? It really is not about you. It really isn't about you. Don't shrink. Don't minimize anything in your pain. Ask God to work with you. Ask Him to heal your heart. Ask Him not to allow you to harden your heart against the enemy, even if it comes from a close person that you thought was a friend. Don't let the fiery darts burn and destroy and eat up your purpose. I love you. I hope you have a joy filled day. I hope you just have a joy filled week. I want you to claim that. I want to pray along with you and touch and agree for that. Ask God to help you this week to fulfill the plans and the purpose He has for your week. And if you pray that and continue to pray that, just watch the difference it's going to make in what you accomplish. Bye bye for now.